Heroin conjures up images of desperation and uncontrollable addiction, a downward spiral of crimes, catastrophes, and early graves. But in Vancouver, there's a radical treatment for hardcore heroin addicts. Heroin, prescribed, controlled, and legal. Today in Vancouver, medical heroin is being dispensed outside of a clinical trial. Duncan McHugh has more on the first program of its kind in North America.
Heroin has been part of Hugh Lampkin's life for over 30 years. He's worked as a mover, a truck driver, a soldier for a while, but always a heroin user. It's really tough to quit, he says. That's why he's all for a new treatment, receiving heroin from a doctor by prescription.
It's about compassion and stuff like that. And, you know, if you're really serious about it, then you'll offer people things to help their lives to go a little bit better.
Today, this clinic became the only one in North America to hand out prescription heroin outside clinical trials. It's only for a small number of users, about 200, who were part of clinical trials and for whom other addiction treatments, counseling, or methadone haven't worked.
This is a very severely ill population, a group of folks that are very unwell, and we want to support them with the best evidence-based care there is.
The evidence gathered from trials that began here in 2005 was promising. Doctors found the prescription heroin administered a few times a day made a difference. Patients gained weight, got volunteer jobs. Their study concluded patients assigned to receive injectable diacetylmorphine, also known as prescription heroin, were more likely to stay in treatment and to reduce their use of illegal drugs and other illegal activities than patients assigned to receive oral methadone. That mirrors similar studies carried out in Europe. The researchers also argued when a clinic dispenses heroin, it can save money. They found heroin provided free to a user costs the health system about $27,000 per year. Compare that to an average hardcore addict, about $45,000 a year in ambulance, medical, policing, and court costs.
And we know that this is cost effective. So not only is it good for the individuals that need it, it will also help the community by reducing crime, illicit drug use, and the problems that we know are associated with the illicit heroin trade.
But the Harper government wasn't convinced.
Our government will close loopholes that allow for the feeding of addiction under the guise of treatment.
Last fall, the health minister changed regulations to make prescribing heroin outside clinical trials illegal.
That our goal must be to take heroin out of the hands of addicts, that we must focus on treatment and we must focus on recovery.
The clinical trials continued, but the patients who reached the end had nowhere to get prescription heroin. Hugh Lampkin saw what happened to them.
They've gotten themselves to the point where they're stable, they're either found job or starting to go, their lives have turned around, and then boom, nothing. That wasn't fair.
So, Pivot Legal Society took Ottawa to court and won an injunction allowing the clinic to finally start dispensing heroin outside the trial.
No other ill person in Canada has the Minister of Health inserting herself between them and their treatment. This is a question that should be dealt with by specialized addiction doctors and the patients in question, and it's not a political issue for the minister to grandstand about.
No new patients will be able to sign up for prescription heroin until the legal battle is settled. It's not due in court until 2016.
There's lots of research done, and the research has always been positive. It's always been good. Why can't we give it a try, see what happens? What's wrong with it? Why are we such a danger?
But today's a good day, says Hugh Lampkin, for those small number of addicts who can now get heroin from a clinic for free. Duncan McHugh, CBC News, Vancouver.
Among the concerns of critics that prescription heroin prolongs addiction instead of helping to end it. But as Duncan mentioned, Canada isn't the first to try this. Trials have been conducted in 5 other countries: Germany, Spain, the Netherlands, and Britain. But Switzerland blazed the trail. Its trial program began back in 1994. And there, prescription heroin was credited with reducing crime and eliminating so-called needle parks, where users shot up openly. By the time the program was made permanent in 2008, it served 1,300 addicts across the country.